Welcome back, everyone. I am Zadian. This is Kerbal Space Program, and we have a new mod that has finally been updated to the 1.0 version. It is Kerbal Construction Time. What this does is basically it adds a construction timer to your rockets, to pretty much anything you do, to anything you upgrade on the astronaut complex, or anything you update, the science that you spend, the when you unlock new things, it adds a timer pretty much to everything, which just allows you not to be able to spend and send rockets up one after the other, basically. So when you first open it, you're gonna have some science, you're gonna have some points to spend. You've got the VAB, the SPH, and the R&D. I put most of mine in the VAB, because the vehicle assembly bay, because that's where you're going to be spending a lot of your time. The other stuff I'm going to put into the R&D. And up in the right hand corner, you can see it's got its own little tab up there that you can get back to your upgrades and stuff, and you can see what you've got queued up in your vehicle assembly bay, or the spaceplane hangar, or pretty much anything. I mean, it's actually a really cool mod. I definitely recommend you downloading it. Now, with all the mods that I've got that have come into 1.0, I do have them all listed on the episode 3. So if you're interested in playing with these mods, absolutely go on there and download them. I've got some really cool mods. What we're going to do today is we're going to ferry two Kerbins to the moon and Minimus. This was a long trip, and like I said in the last episode, we're going to be making a few changes after this episode. This will be the last episode where we focus on one mission, solely one mission. So from now on, when we're doing these episodes, there's going to be more than one thing going on per episode, and that starts with the episode 5. And I'll show you what that means in the next episode. But right now, we're going to put together a rocket that is capable of going to the moon, Minimus, and capable of holding 3 people. And this one took a hell of a long time to build. I went back and forth on a couple of designs on it. Of course, I'm trying to put landing legs on there, which are pointless. I don't even end up using them, because I end up landing in water, like always. But and they do some funky stuff whenever I open them in space. Start spinning the capsule around, because it clips through the compartment. So yeah. But we're gonna put some life support on this thing. We've got 4 parachutes, 1 on top, 3 on the sides, and 2 capsules for our ride-alongs. And we're gonna put 2 medium tanks. And the little engine, that's going to be more than enough to take us around the solar system. And but since this thing is so heavy, I decided to go with a little bit of a different way to get it up there. I do an asparagus. Yeah, you'll see. This is how I do asparagus. I'll put 2 on the side. And then I put the stronger engines on these, the ones that don't have gimbal, because you only want the center one to have gimbal when you're doing asparagus. And then I, obviously put struts on there to add stability, 1 on each side. Put the cone on top for the nose cone on top for aerodynamics, and then just copy and paste, basically. I just gotta rework the fuel lines like that, and bam, just copy and paste 1 more, and that's asparagus for you. Now, one difference, one thing that this mod does do is when you and you'll see in just a second, when you create a rocket, it doesn't just automatically create the rocket. Also, we're gonna name this the ZDR No Hope, because I had a feeling with the new aerodynamics, it wasn't gonna have any hope of flying. I haven't done asparagus yet, and this is my first time doing asparagus staging. in the 1.0, and used to be no big deal, you know. But with the new aerodynamics, it was a little questionable, But after a little final tweaks here, we're gonna save it, and you're gonna hit launch. When you hit launch, go ahead and hit launch, Dingy. There you go. You'll see that this little pops up, and it says build vehicle or simulate vessel. You can simulate your rockets before you start building them, and it costs a little bit of money, not a lot. As you can see, that was like 165, but it gives you the opportunity to test your rocket to make sure it's functional and does what you want it to do before you build it. So this is the initial test, and you know, nothing out of the ordinary here. I'm rolling a little quickly, you know, I'm just testing the thing out. But then this happens. Start to tilt over a little bit too much, lose a little bit of control, and yeah. So had this been a live launch, you know, it would have been a wasted rocket, and with a construction timer, I would have had to have waited all over again for this rocket to be rebuilt. But because we're in a simulation, I just decide to go ahead and test all the staging, make sure we're good, and make sure everything works. And it does. But after that simulation, I went back, made a few more tweaks, added some more science to it, some solar panels, and it kind of balanced out a little bit better. I did test this before I built it, but I just didn't show it. But yeah, so now that you've clicked on build vessel, nothing happens. You have to exit out to the compound, and if you go and click on Kerbal Engineer, I mean not Kerbal Engineer, but the build thing, you'll see that it's going to take 11 days for this to build. So you just warp until the 11 days is over, and once it's done, your vehicle is complete. Now, that does not mean it's ready to launch, because not only does this thing add a build time to it, it also adds a rollout time. I honestly don't know what that was. It should have been built, but whatever reason, it's like built 2 of them. I don't know why. I may have clicked build it twice. That's my bad. But now that it's built, and it works along with Kerbal alarm clock too. So that will let you go further when you're fast forwarding than the build time, which is nice. So once you have it built, you go back to the engineer, to the timer, click on it, go to the VAB where your vehicle is, and you'll see down there it says VAB. It's ready to be rolled out. It's in storage. So you click roll out. Sorry, it's being stupid. You click on roll out, and it gives you a timer for that too. So this is just a mod that prevents you from, you know, being able to back-to-back rocket fire, which is pretty cool. It makes you plan things out to the point to where, you know, you if this mission were to this mission right here, if something were to happen and they were to get stranded in space, excuse me, they would have to survive until, you know, a rescue mission could be done, and it's more realistic. I mean, I know we're doing a lot of crazy stuff with Kerbins and stuff, and the fiction reality and everything, science fiction reality, but it's still, I like the added realism to it. So once you hit, click launch, it'll allow this menu will pop up. You can remove and fill it with whoever you want to. I put Jeb in there, and then I put the 2 passengers, and this is that launch. So during the launch, you'll notice that, you know, nothing out of the normal here. We've got some science on the right-hand side we can pick up, but I choose not to because I'm lazy. So you can see this thing is moving like a slug, but it gets a little bit faster when it gets higher up and out of the soupy atmosphere. This is us going into orbit. As you can see, I've already got my Apple apps up to about 83 or 84 now. It's still climbing, so it is putting us in a nice high orbit. We're going to go for a higher orbit than normal. I want to utilize as much as this fuel that I've got right now as I can, because I'm going to drop the whole bottom stage will fall back into the atmosphere. So I definitely went a little overkill with getting this thing into space. You can see those two. They're not going to be space clutter. I still haven't achieved orbit, so everything I push off now is going to fall back into the atmosphere. I do that to keep you know, clutter down when I'm flying. So you see, I'm doing really long burns because I've got fuel out the ass at this point. So whatever I do, it's not really. I'm not wasting any fuel. I'm planning on dropping that into the atmosphere anyways. And this is me just trying to get as close as possible. And that was it. So that bottom piece is still going to fall into the atmosphere. And now we're going to achieve our orbit, which you can see by the camera moving right there. It says that we're in orbit. So once we get into orbit, we're going to go to Minimus first. I figure go out and come back in. It would probably be the easiest thing. Not to mention that half of the time when you come back in, you encounter the damn moon anyways. So it shouldn't be too difficult to do. But the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you're on the same plane as the Minimus. And it is not in the equatorial plane, just like the moon is. It's tilted a little bit, as you can see because I made it my target. You see the green line. That's its orbit. So we're gonna match our orbit with Minimus. Hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh my god. Sorry about that. So this is just us making our plane the same, and as you can see, we get pretty close. After that, we're going to swing out and try to get an encounter with Minimus. I don't know the exact transfer window. I don't have a transfer window mod. So this is just me playing with maneuver nodes. That's one of the reasons why we waited so long to go to Minimus, is because of the maneuver nodes. And because of how long it took me to figure out how to get maneuver nodes, which is really embarrassing, but still. So yeah, this is just me trying to get a maneuver node going to where we're going to get our encounter. And there it is. And then our return trajectory would bring us back into Kerbin pretty close. So once we have our trajectory, we're going to start burning towards Minimus, and it's just a normal burn, nothing special. And like I said, you see how the orbit goes, it'll take us back into Kerbin. I am gonna make adjustments to it, maybe a little bit too much adjustment to it, but right now we're just trying to get out to Minimus. Excuse me. My sinuses have literally just shut down all of a sudden, and I have no idea why. So that's why my voice is getting like real raspy, and I sound like I can't breathe because I can't. Anyway, we got our encounter with Minimus, so now we're gonna head out there and get some sweet science, and also we're going to entertain our two passengers, since this is one of the things they wanted to do, was go to Minimus. We must oblige. I will try to edit out all the sniffles. I apologize again. I don't know why my sinuses just shut down. So on our way out to Minimus, I tried to adjust our encounter with it. I did want to get inside the 30,000 meter to get the outer away, the far away from Minimus and the close encounter to Minimus. I end up jacking the orbit up pretty good. It's not as easy as you'd think. I mean, it's not hard. I mean, I know what to do, but I end up jacking it up anyways. Get our encounter to where we're gonna be on the same plane and everything, and it just if you're gonna do this stuff where you're changing your encounter and everything, make sure you do it before you're in Minimus's or any body's influence. That way it doesn't cost nearly as much fuel. Like, I'm barely putting the gas on when I do that, and I'm able to move my orbit quite a bit. So just remember, the further out you are from what you're going to, the less gas it'll cost, the less fuel it'll cost to, change your orbits and stuff. So real quick, I'm going to grab all the science that comes along with being outside it, or just barely in Minimus's influence. After that, when we get in close, I go ahead and get the science from everything again. After each time I do this, I didn't show it, but after each time I do this, I do go out there with my Kerbal and pick up all the experiments and everything, and store them so things don't get messed up. I'm paranoid. Just I don't like letting stuff sit out there, especially since I know it's not going to come back into the atmosphere, and I don't want to go for like a where I'm going to come back into the atmosphere and I forgot about it and I lose all of it. So I just go ahead and do it right when I'm doing it. It's just kind of habit. But this is us coming back in. We're done with our encounter with Minimus, and this is me trying to figure out a close encounter with the moon. And it's not a bad one. It's pretty far away from the moon, but it just has to be in the moon's influence in order to get the contract done. So that's basically what I'm going to do. I got it to where it's just going to be in the influence of the moon, and it'll swing us right back towards Kerbal. And then once we got our encounter, you'll see once we go into the moon's influence, all that stuff, the stuff in the top right hand corner, the mission is complete now. Payday, basically. We mission successful. We took them to the moon. We took them to Minimus, and they orbited around the planet. Now it's time to go home. And yet again, I'm going to be coming in hot. I lower our orbit pretty good. I was like, oh, I've got plenty of fuel. I'm just going to lower my orbit, and I'm going to go into a stable orbit around Kerbal, and then I'm going to drop in. Best laid plans, man. I start going low on a little fuel, and right there you can tell I'm looking at my periapse height, and just bringing it down as low as possible before I come back into before I deorbit and go back into Kerbal. But as you can see right here, things didn't work out so well, and yeah, once again we are coming in hot. Lowered our orbit enough to bring us back into the atmosphere, and this thing, watch, it takes, well, I should have done it differently there, but this thing it takes a beating, man. You're saying I came in way too fast, and that looks cool as shit. I definitely came in way too fast. I was very nervous. I like the little bars that they added to show that the heat transfer from all the parts, and that was the legs blowing up, obviously. I am 10,000 meters above sea level right now, and I am still like on fire. I was freaking, man. And after see how black that is, I burnt that sumbitch. It didn't have very much health left on it. That was probably the maximum. That's probably the hottest I could have come in without dying. I got very lucky with that. But, you know, hey, that's Kerbal Space Program. It's getting lucky. So we come back down safely, you know. And that's the end of this mission, basically. See the parachutes look like they're freaking out. It's kind of funny. Cover the vessel. We got 629 science from that. That was a lot of science. We only got 5,000 funds refunded to us, but because we completed those missions, we got over 200,070 money. I don't know what the hell dollars. We're just gonna call it dollars because I'm American. You can see we got some reputation for doing that. We got 91 for one of our tourists, and we got about the same for the next one. So we're in good shape. We got 730 science total. We are definitely going to be able to move on to the next level of the next tier and start focusing in on you know, some sort of technology that we want to stick with for the rest of the time. But to start out, we're going to, you know, get some more bigger rocket parts. I know that we're going to need them. Also, the things that cover your rockets. God damn it! Why can't I think of them? Anyway, they're in that previous one. I'm gonna buy that one because I do plan on doing landers. Because we need to go to the moon and land on the moon, and that one, that node has the can on it, and yeah. So I'm starting to figure something out here. That next tier is not lighting up any, which is very weird. I'm gonna buy that because I need docking nodes and need small parts, and yeah. So that node's not lighting up, which is very strange to me. And I haven't figured it out yet. I have. Me narrating has, but in there I'm still trying to figure it out. Turns out there's an upgrade to the science facility that yeah, I didn't know about. It's basically you have to upgrade your science facility in order to go past a certain point. And I had no idea. Really sucks. I need 400,000, like 470,000 Kerbal dollars to get to the next tier to upgrade my my research laboratory. So that's what we're going to be doing in the next episode. We're going to be updating. We're going to be doing quite a few things. Look, I go back in there. I'm still trying to figure it out. What the fuck? We're going to be doing several missions to get a lot of money, to get us like to the 450. I think it says 451. Shouldn't be too hard. We do have plenty of missions that we have access to that are good in funds, and that's gonna do it for today's episode. I am Zadian. Thank you for watching. I always appreciate a like, a favorite, a subscription, and if you could leave comments down below, I do read them, and they always do mean a lot to me. Anyways, we'll see you next time for more Kerbal Space Program.